There we go. YouTube's back. All right. Yeah. Stupid OBS. I did read your question. Hold on. Like, we're in the middle of something. Just give it some time, man. If you want to keep learning Python, keep building stuff, man. That's all there is to it. Don't use an excuse for why you're not getting it. Hey, thanks, Dusty. Now, books are the worst way to learn. They're out of date the moment they're printed. I recommend Free Code Camp, but it's very much web dev focused. They do have a Python course, though. The big thing, Sonic, is start building things. Tutorials only get you so far. No, I did not make a Python tutorial. If you can't motivate yourself without a boot camp, you're not going to motivate yourself with one. I just linked you Free Code Camp. That's what I recommend. Yes, you're very, very early into Python. I would say stick with it. If it were easy, everyone would do it. There is no magic shortcut. Shortcuts just become the way. Come on, VS Code. You can do this. All right, we still got something that is just killing performance right now. Seems like it was our dev tools. We had a dev tools tab opened for our localhost 3000. No worries, Sonic. All right, so over here in schema, we got some more stuff to add. All right, yeah, so we'll call that good. All right, so now back in the editor. Which part? Like the database schema or the validators? Because those are separate. SQLite doesn't have that kind of validation. Oh, and yeah, that's why that's no good. Man, Apple really needs to release this new Mac Mini. Because OBS crashed. Yep. All right, so let's see how that ends up looking. Looks pretty good. Sure. Thanks. And actually, I don't think I want to set font size on that. We do want to do it for the preview, though. Mac Mini M1. Yeah, man. The moment they announce the new ones, I'm getting one. Or I'm getting like just the generation before. Maxed out. Either way, you know? But I am overdue for an upgrade. Yeah, like a lot of people are predicting Monday is when they announce the next one. Oh, and yeah, this is going to be annoying. It's definitely going to be an M4. Okay, so the Shiki Magic Move component. It doesn't allow us to pass in style values. We do see props.style there. And what up, Jada-san? Hey, no. All right, so we need to recompile. Let's hope it just works. It'd be a whole lot cooler if it did. All right, cool. Let's just stop and restart that just to be sure. And we'll see if that breaks everything. Will it blend? What do we think? So it's not blending yet. No, that's fine there, Dusty. Yeah, line numbers is going to be a bit trickier. And I'll be back on Thursday, so we can chat about it. All right, so we see font family there, but the pre and the spans do not get it. So we need to recompile again. And I bet this ends up running into issues, but we'll see. Oh, all right. So that compiled. That is promising. Definitely not working, though. That part doesn't look like a problem. It's probably over here in the renderer somewhere. I'm not seeing it yet. Hmm. This is probably, yeah, where we need to hook into this. Hmm. It's definitely getting messy. Hmm. Hold on. What if I do it this way? Shiki magic move item. Inherit. Important? Because we don't see the font in the container anywhere. And I could have even set it here while we're waiting. Actually, let's do it here. Interesting. So it's saying that's actually where that's coming from. Okay, so yeah, that pre-element has it. Okay. So what we can do is instead of those changes there, we can make font family and font size be inherited at the CSS level. And then we only need to set it on the element above. All right, let's do another build just to be sure. Yeah, for some reason I thought the font family and font size were being set inline, and I thought we had to like override them. But we can just CSS it and we're good. Once our server's back up, we can double check that assumption. Yep. Like a glove. Okay. One thing I want to do is when we select the font, You can. Up to you. Into it. All right. So then how about font size? Into it. Let's do a generate. Like a glove. Yeah, the space at the bottom might need some work. Not sure why we have extra padding there, like at the bottom of it. Like why we're not like centered. I think it's mainly I'm missing some type of like padding value inside of the input. All right, so yeah, that's actually something that I need to do inside of my drawing function. Create animation frame. So the height and the width, those are good. So when we draw one of these elements here, right, we're doing the y start, y end plus y modifier. And y modifier here. It's not quite that. So I think it's 1.5 of that padding, but I don't know why. But it does give us the centered value. Okay. Font size looks pretty good to me. All right, we're going to have overflow. I think overflow is acceptable. Ooh. But things get really wonky there. Interesting. And Kyle, thank you for the follow. I missed that. Interesting. So yeah, our font size value ends up getting a little wonky. And I'm not quite sure why. Oh, what did I break? Must contain only numbers, because, yeah. Um, okay. All right. So that's actually like the future-proof fix for it. If we make it bigger now. Yeah, we're just not getting the overflow like we expected. Okay. And right. Hmm. Yeah, what do we want to actually do for that overflow? Hmm. All right, if we just do this. All right, let me do one more fix real quick. We could turn on word rep. It does break in Firefox though. How are you making that assumption? Word wrap's getting overwritten. Hmm. Oh, come on, Tailwind. All right, so text. We can just do text wrap. I don't think it's going to do what we want. Nope. Damn it, it should have. It might be because it's all one line. I wonder what would happen if we used a better snippet. So one thing we could maybe do then is inside of our render function. Yeah, we're using Shiki and Shiki Magic Move, but we have to raw dog the rendering as canvas because Shiki is manipulating DOM elements with CSS transition values, and you can't capture that. So we have to simulate Shiki Magic Move by just taking their start and end values and interpolating ourselves. So this is Shiki Magic Move. The GIF that we generate is not. Yep. Which is why we're having issues with the CSS overflow. And my thought is we could definitely go into our function down here. All right, we're interpolating these values and what they should be. And then we're doing a fill text at these X and Y's. But no, you're good, Sean. Yeah, I just think it definitely went both ways. Probably more my fault than yours. I forget the specifics of it. But yeah, you were trying to help in some way, and I forget exactly what it was, but yeah. No, I definitely take at least half the blame. Oh, yeah, it was like a reactivity issue. Yeah. Now I remember. You were talking about it's interesting the code isn't being passed or something like that when we were able to log it and see that it was. The fix for the reactivity issue is actually quite interesting. Um, in fact, yeah, let me go pull up that PR Tashiki magic move. No, you didn't solve the issue though, right? Like you were digging into it and you made a comment about the code like not being passed as a prop. And I had already like shown that it was being printed in our logs. So it was being passed. But it wasn't intuitive. Yeah. No, and it's fine. I'm just letting you know. Um I'm proud of the fact that I got a good memory. I was able to remember that. So hold on. What did Jay Larky do here? Yeah, so the fix was basically turning this into a signal rather than using views shallow reactive because we were running into a thing that was like fighting the reactivity. I'm curious how this is even working. Yeah, the reason we were doing this is because it's the exact pattern that all the others do. But yeah, by just rendering it here, same thing. But yeah, the main issue, right? Even with this, the real fix was using a signal right here rather than any of this. And this was necessary because this wasn't a signal. This was views shallow reactive. I don't make this music, no. I do make some music, but this isn't it. Now, I don't make electronic music. Yeah, exactly. So this is being rendered inside of Vue, but the key was not using Vue's reactivity layer because they were somehow fighting each other. I have done FL Studio for sure, but I don't make electronic music with it. I use FL Studio for sequencing guitar and drum and guitar and bass loops that I've played like with an actual instrument. I do the drums electronically, that's about it. I've done some synths, but really like those are just instruments, not the entire song. Whereas this is entirely electronic. So yeah, part of the issue, I guess, then is that we're doing fill text here, which doesn't give us a chance to like crop it. Oh, it does allow us to do a max width. Ooh. Okay, so that max width value. Yeah. Okay, so this is the actual spot where we'd want to do this. What it ends up being is width minus x. And that might actually solve it. Oh, hell yeah, Sean. Yeah, especially because they're all public repos. Yeah, you could use most of like the cool features, which is why I'm really trying to convince them to just give a free license to open source anyway. That way there's no like trickiness about the pro license. Like I've been trying to push for that for so long. Um what's the other tool? Graphite. They do a free open source license too. Right? If we want to really compete for open source users and the publicity that brings, yeah, like dude, their free open source tier is amazing. We should be doing the same thing. We should also be doing it for small startups up to a size of like 10 or whatever. And then once that startup grows, well, yeah, we're already part of their DNA, their standard operating procedure. And most startups don't want to change anything and shake the boat once they actually start growing because that's, you know, how they got big is part of like how they started doing their dev. It's similar to why like streamers typically don't change up their stream after they've already made it because they don't want to mess up the formula. Which is why Ping, you know, it may be profitable, but it was never going to grow the way they wanted it to because streamers are really, really anti changing things up once they've already made it. Right? Like if you can get into someone's like operating DNA as far as like their secret sauce, what they did to get popular and big, then typically you can stick with them. You can just say the name of the place you're trying to guess that I work at. No, I. Motherfucker. Okay. So we didn't fully crash, right? Am I still here? I'm just like frozen. Oh, but OBS seems like frozen. Okay, so I'm like moving on your guys' screen still, right? Like you can see me moving. Okay, I'm not moving in my OBS right now. Yeah, I'm having major stability issues. Let me see what the hell's going on here. All right, Chrome is chewing up so much RAM right now. I'm going to relaunch to update Chrome. All right, so that's a big part of it. We'll get more music going. YouTube Creator Studio might have been the thing that crashed on me. Does seem like OBS is the thing I'm doing that's having issues too. Wow, Chrome's already back up to 2 gigs. And it's just the one window. All right, Chrome's chilling better now. Brave is definitely giving me issues. Okay, let me get more music going. I think we had some memory pressure issues or something. The fact that my OBS is still bugged is gnarly. And yeah, like typically those issues are related to either there's some type of like result code hung memory issue. Could be I need to update Windows because it's been like a month. It could also be a failing graphics card. I've had that problem before. Could also be a bad like DIMM, like certain sectors in RAM. So yeah, I may have to do like a RAM check here at some point. But yeah, I reduced memory pressure, so we should be better now. Yeah, I probably just need to update OBS, update Windows, update all my browsers, and reboot at some point. We'll probably have another good month of stability. But, all right. So, hold on. No, I do not work at Nerdery. I work at Get Kraken. If you ever want to ask, job. Right? So when you talk about ping, ping is a tool by ping, right? I'm talking about ping.gg, Theo's thing. Ping, the streamer tool. On the Web3GL guy? Nah, I'm pretty sure he was just trolling. No messages sent. Yeah, no, not Ping the golf company. I was specifically talking about streamers at the time. What does Ping the golf company have to do with streamers? Okay. So, continuing on. I want to see if that fixed it. Right? That max width value. Ooh, it almost does, but not quite. So yeah, that just seems like a hack. That's just me throwing a dart at the wall. I think we're like close to being on the right track with it though. We'll have to see how it works with like different font sizes. Interesting. So yeah, the max width is actually max width is actually scaling the text. But I think that's kind of okay. We didn't actually need the parens. We'll see if they get removed. Yeah, they did. Right, I want to get at least a little padding at the side. But I don't think we're going to get any of that padding. It's just, oh, like a glove. Ah, yeah. Ah, yeah. Sure, the T's getting a little squished, but I think that works. Oh, I thought I was going to have to hack that so much differently. Ah, nice. They actually figured it out in the context or in the Canvas API. That's awesome. Okay, cool. And yeah, I have the wrong YouTube chat. Let me do that real quick. Okay, so I feel like we got the font stuff done. I don't know what on-screen celebration does. Is that just some like animation thing? Right? Like, do they just do that on your end, or is that something I have to do? Sure. All right. Yeah, I like it. So I think we're going to commit what we got for this one. What we need to do though is pnpm drizzle kit migrate. Oh, not migrate. Is it generate? It is generate. Oh, it's routes API authenticated. Let's do a diff. So yeah, the font family stuff. That's a good fix. Right, we get the journal and that font icon. Yep. Title becomes optional there. Font family, font size. That section. That stuff. Text wrap there isn't actually doing what we wanted. So I should get rid of that before I forget. And that's in editor. That was a great fix right there. That fix was necessary. There's our defaults. We add those by default. That part's good there. Ooh, and we've actually got some major bug on the editor. Oh, yeah, we got some editor fixes to make for sure. So it's going to be not the editor, but like the persisted snippets. We're not actually updating those values, and we kind of need to. But I'd say what we have right now is definitely good to go. Well, interesting. We didn't see any output from that, but should be good. Closes number feature font settings number 31. Yeah, the multi-line is actually the default. Like if you go to gifium.com, like you can actually go fiddle with it right now. Hold on, I have too many open. Survival, I would say you go and fiddle with it a bit and let me know what you think. Yep. Yeah, we're getting close enough to maybe release it out to all sorts of places. But yeah, pretty fun, right? I definitely broke something about the counter though. Right? So yeah. We started it, I want to say like at the beginning of the month. All right, so I do need to go pee. Give me just a second. The thing I want to fix most right now is actually like these drop downs. Right? Like that's completely unreadable. So yeah, we want to fix that. But let me go pee first. So yeah, we're going to do just like the simplest little styling fixes right now. Okay, and I'm back. Eat some jerky. That's a good one. Hmm. All right, that chunk was a bit tough. And yeah, anyone from the San Francisco area? Any stuff I should definitely check out while I'm down there for GitHub Universe? All right. So the big thing I want to do is here in UI for the drop down menus and the combo boxes. The input, we want text black. The content here, BG white. Text black. Oh, and that's wrong. Hmm. Let me double check something here. So basically, I think in the app, I might be adding some styles to those. Yeah, so here we're doing that, and I probably just want to remove that. Rest of that looks okay. Oh, I didn't save. Mm-hmm. Cool. Now for the drop down, I also want to just keep it white. All right, I'm okay with all that. Yeah, that being opposite is super annoying. I don't mind the button being the different color, but the drop down should still be just consistently that. I don't know. I think there's a lot more we'd want to do to make the styling feel more cohesive. I'm really not a designer. All right, so I think one of the biggest issues is that a lot of their like coloring is hidden behind like the popover stuff. So every time we see BG popover, I think we just want BG white. And then text popover foreground. Text black. Yeah, so then we're very close here. It's just it doesn't exactly look good. Yeah, that part's weird. I think it's because of my zoom though. All right, so focus BG accent. All right. So it is the focus value. Yeah, how are you going to do that on the client side? Or are you talking about doing it for the CLI? Okay, and how do you pass the input into FFmpeg? I don't want to do it with Node.js. I'm not made of money. If this blows up, the Netlify bill would be insane. How about this? Try it. Right? Try doing all that with Wasm in the browser. I want to see how far you get. I understand. Try it. How are you going to record the browser? Right? You basically would need to re-implement the CSS rendering inside of a thing that FFmpeg could record. And how do you do that from only in the browser? Again, go for it. If you know how to do this, go for it. How are you going to do a screen capture in the browser that captures at whatever frames per second you're caring about? Like, you're throwing out a whole bunch of stuff as if you know. Like, have you tried it? I'm going to throw this out there in the future, right? If you're going to suggest things that you're unsure of, Making a statement like, I think it makes sense, is going to be way less accepted than simply asking, does it make sense? By making a statement, you're already letting people know that you think you know better. By asking a question, you're not necessarily saying that. You're leaving room for you to be wrong. If you think there is no room for you to be wrong about this, show me the results. Now, you're so close to actually being onto something that would make sense. Generating a video instead of a GIF. That would actually make a lot more sense. And we could use FFmpeg in the browser to assemble our frames that we have to interpolate and manually do ourselves. But we could compile that into an MP4 that is then easier to share out to other places. And it's a smaller file and all that. But there is no way to have FFmpeg record your browser window at an acceptable frame rate. Unless you're doing it server-side. Unless you're doing it with something that does way more than what we're currently doing. All right, so back to the thing we're actually doing. All right, so I think this one right here, focus, text, accent, foreground. Just make text white. Oh. So that wasn't it. Let's look at the place that we probably don't want to do that. So it's really just this one that we care about for now. But then why does it affect the first one here? Well, it doesn't even hit that. Ooh. Okay, so I do think I want to do that. We're going to make that text white. But we also... Oh, hold on. Nope, I know. I know exactly why. Because we didn't add the focus part. That was it. All right, so checkbox item is definitely not the one we care about. So I think menu sub and menu trigger are what we are looking for. Oh, and they're just aliasing the one that comes from Cobalt. Ah, that's annoying. All right, so that one works. Okay, so then if we go back to the top, trigger, what's actually going to be slider. They're not directly aliasing, which is good. So yeah, the slider primitive fill here. That's for the thumb. So it's going to be slider track or slider fill. Let's say BG gray 200. But this is then going to break when we mouse over it, right? Yeah. Hey, what's up, Shreyas? How you doing? Perf stuff? Nice. I'm doing all right. Yep, no worries. And hey, what's up, Gok? How you doing over there? Yeah, I'm doing all right. Trying to think of a good way to style this. Oh, did I not merge this yet? Yeah, no, I've had some issues. I had OBS like crash once or twice today already, like one and a half, I guess. And that really messed with YouTube because they make a whole new stream, right, with a whole brand new link. So yeah, it gets really tricky that way. Ooh, so here's one thing you might want to do. Because I added font settings, we're going to have a conflict for migration numbers and stuff. So you may need to like kill your migrations and what you've done with like the journal, like, you know, basically all the database stuff. You may need to kill that and like redo it. Sorry about that. Not a great experience working on these migrations with someone else doing it. Yeah, that's my fault. I'm sorry about that, Salmon. But let me look at the other stuff at least while you're doing that. I don't think a dialogue is the right way to go. And formatting is way off. Make sure you're formatting with prettier on default settings. I'm curious why dialogue was even brought in. Rather than this being an else, I'd rather like specifically check for it. Realistically, it'd probably be better to do the check for the thing that's this specific. Oh, import order? Okay, that might be it. But yeah, I would say this one should be the if check. And then the else should be like solid should be the default then, right? Like annotating what this is doing is more important to me. I think even then like an if else or else if would make more sense too. Um and here's the thing, I would refrain from making a change like this that's going to impact more than like the changes you're trying to do. Right? This is going to end up changing so many other lines that the diff becomes really noisy. So if you wanted to do this change, I would say do that in a totally separate PR after this has been merged. Right? Like the diff is just way too noisy at this point. Would you like me to leave these comments as like comments inline, or did saying it like satisfy all that? But yeah, so Gokten, recovering? Yeah, I'm glad you feel better. Yeah, I'll leave these comments. All right, so I'll do that one. And I'll make this comment here. The formatting seems pretty wonky. Make sure you're running prettier with default settings, I think. And it might be ESLint that's doing the formatting. Um, yeah, so I guess the next thing would be I would say turn off your sort formatting or your sort ordering. You know, like, is it adding anything? No, it's just noise in the diff. If we want to do another PR later for adding like import sorting, that should happen as just its own PR. Personally. And if you want to create an issue for that, I'm all for that. Like, I think that'd be great. So if you want to create issues for those two things that you kind of did, I would try and like make sure that this PR is as focused on the task at hand as it can be. Then it's so much easier to review. So I'll create issues for those. How about that? In the canvas code, we use CTX a lot. Instead, we can use the at the declaration of CTX. All right, and I think that would be a great PR. And I don't want to make it right now because that would add like a bunch of conflicts for you. But yeah, I think as a separate PR, that would be great. I just want to have like nice focused, like, you know, the PR does exactly what it says rather than like doing other, you know, fix it as you go kind of things. And yeah, real quick, let me catch up. So yeah, you enjoyed how I handle trolls. Yeah. Eh. I could be better about it sometimes for sure. And yeah, thanks, Captain. Um and yeah, Colton. Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks, Colton. All right, so that's one issue. Another one. Implement sort ordering. Or, sorry, import sorting. Trivago. Prettier plugin sort imports. And what's up, Khalid? How you doing? I had a tab. Here it is. So I just implemented font settings, so you can increase the font size, and you can pick from the 7 pre-selected fonts that we have. That got merged in. We're currently doing some styling fixes for the dark mode, light mode stuff. But we have some other people proposing PRs and trying to solve some of the larger tasks. But they had a bunch of other changes mixed in with what they're doing. And I'm just trying to, like, as a maintainer, I have to, like, make sure that the PRs are actually understandable, because I don't want to merge in something, you know, potentially malicious, something that doesn't quite do what we expected or whatever, right? Like, so the ability to review a PR really does hinge on only making changes in a PR that are towards the goal of that specific issue that it's related to. Ooh, Invader Vim. I love that song. No, no, no. Like, honestly, Invader Vim, I don't mind, like, a random comment question here and there. Right? It's when someone's, like, really derailing us. And even right now, I'm hacking out an issue. You may remember when I've been harsher about that in the past. And I apologize. But damn, it's raining hard out there. Oh, Marvel Sack. No, I have. You just haven't been here long. I have major jerk moments. I'm only human, right? But I'm trying to be better about it all the time. And yeah, what's up, Bob? Honestly, Colton, I didn't even remember that you had that issue. I don't even remember that. I would attribute that to me being a jerk, probably. 2021. Oh no no yeah. 2021. I bet it was just me having a moment. I bet that was just a bad moment on my part. Oh, okay. Like, I don't know. I You have 918 messages in here, so I wouldn't even be able to find it. But I would at least say I am probably one of the more ban happy streamers and not always justified. Okay. Yeah, I don't remember it, so it wasn't that bad. It could have been also just the possibility that I was already dealing with someone else. Oh, something about feet. Yeah, okay. A ban was probably harsher than it should have been. I think a timeout would have been fine. And yeah, how's it going, Candace? That's true, chaotic. I'm good at admitting fault because, I don't know, it's my fault a lot. Doing well. I bought this jerky as like oh yeah, I'll just eat this before my flight so that I got something in my belly. Well, I mean, it is technically before my flight, but I'm going to be hungry again before my flight. I know, right? And I missed a bunch of follows because I haven't even been seeing my feed. I missed a bunch of them. So hold on. Kyle, I did call out. Dave Doo Doo. Right? It's like the baby shark doo 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 or whatever. Um, CS Iga. Tametsu. AV Suzas. Oh, it's like AV Souza, and then ES is probably like Spanish, right? Like Espanol. Invader Vim, thank you for the follow. And Candice, thank you for the follows. Appreciate it. So yeah, I would say this would be a good one for someone that wants to like toy around with GitHub Actions. Or we could do it as a hold on, let me edit this real quick. All right, a Git hook would make sense as well. Oh, yeah, I get it, Khalid. Thank you. All right, so let's continue with some of these styling issues. Hey, what's up, X-Rat? How you doing? And yeah, what's up, Jens? How you doing? Ooh, that doesn't look good at all. I'd say that works. Oh, but our show shadow here. All right, so our checkbox styling needs work still. Now hold on. The turning the shadow on and off. We're just doing the regular checkbox instead of the checkbox item, and that might have actually been the bigger problem. Got to. No, you're fine, man. Your English is good. Um, let's go back to solid UI. Oh, and that's it. So yeah, then it's just checked and set show get log. Okay, cool. All right. So then checked. We should be able to start like auto completing this part. Oh, is this the same issue where yeah, it doesn't take an argument? It doesn't. Um, no, Gokton, like, feel free to chat over there. You're killing it. Like, yeah, no problem, man. How do I find solid start so far? It feels a bit early. There's a lot of stuff missing from the docs, in my opinion. The biggest issue I have with it is the way they do middleware. Middleware is basically global for API endpoints. I'm not a fan of that. I would really love some way of doing middleware at like maybe like the folder level via some kind of convention. Right? And I already had this earlier. I probably shouldn't have deleted it. But the idea would be, what if you have your API endpoints and you want to create a folder and call it authenticated? Right? In that folder, you would then maybe have something like widgets.ts. Right? And then you'd have maybe something like underscore middleware.ts. And basically, you would export some function here that would be maybe like export middleware or function middleware. Right? And you could compose this middleware of other middleware, right? It would take in the request as it's happening, right? Events, etc. And it would return a response or nothing, right? So then the value would be right? And undefined would mean that, yeah, the middleware is done, like, good to go. And you would attach things to the event as part of, like, context or something. So then, basically, any endpoint within widgets here would automatically be calling whatever those functions are and modify their context based on it, which means I wouldn't have to duplicate this entire, like, get user chunk of code, right? Like, that one little piece could be middleware that just lives in the one middleware. And I write it once instead of for every endpoint here within snippets. Right? Every endpoint within this snippets file. So yeah, just being able to reduce that boilerplate would be really nice. You'd have one place that you handle your 401, the user is not found, right? So yeah, I don't think it's the right moment for it. I would love to discuss with them, and then maybe we could implement that. Yeah, middleware is for reducing repetition. Right? If we go look at Walter, right? Let me just go look at one thing here in apps. API. Let's see, source. HTTP. And let's just say businesses. All right, so now if we just did like a code dot, this would be a little easier. I just didn't want to have to fire up the entire like Walter repo. But as an example, yeah, if I want to create a new business, I simply have this middleware that does like the setting up of my database tables for some of my ORM stuff. I have my get user that checks the user's token and validates that. And then I have my validation middleware that, yeah, if the user's passing the wrong props or they fail validation for what they should be sending to my API, then that also just spits out and I'm done. And it never ever gets to this stuff until these things have passed. Right? Like, dude. Yeah, middleware is huge for reducing this boilerplate. I would have to do this get tables thing in every single thing. I would have to do the get user and handle the error for not having a user in every single thing. You know? Validating the request and spitting out the 401. Like, that's easily just maybe 10 to 20 lines of code for each one of those that I would have in all 70 of my API endpoints, basically. Not all of them, but the majority. That amount of overhead sucks. Whereas instead, it's 2 lines in each file. So, yeah, I think middleware is definitely the way you write less boilerplatey backend code. Let me get more music going, though. And let me go pour some water, because I'm out, and rinse this glass, and I can have 1 whiskey before I take an hour to then, like, pack and get ready for my flight. But, yeah, I'll be right back. Give me a second. Oh, yeah, I'm not going to restart the Stream Deck stuff right now, so I'll just be right back. Give me a second. Oh, and I just realized I have to pee. Sorry. And yeah, so how is everyone doing today? And yeah, I hope that that explanation of what middleware even is was helpful for some people that, haven't really been familiar with the use case and the reasons why. But yeah, the problem with Solid Start's middleware solution at the moment is that the middleware applies to every endpoint. So like not every endpoint takes in a token, right? Like the endpoint to log in and get a token wouldn't use that middleware. So then you end up doing like if conditionals inside of your global middleware to figure out which endpoint to use, and that gets really brittle as you rename endpoints and stuff. No, that's not how the general middleware pattern works. There are ways to do it that way, and there are some things that do it, such as like in Express. Yes, there's the global middleware for doing body parser stuff and for doing cores and things like that. But then there's going to be endpoint specific middleware as well. Without the ability to do endpoint specific middleware in a clean way, it gets really annoying. Oh, yeah. There's definitely better ways. Hold on. So, yeah, router level. I mean, you can basically do it kind of like this app.use. Oh, here you go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So basically, this is your piece of middleware. This is the final like endpoint code. Maybe. I think it's a bad pattern, though. Oh, that's why I did my own custom one. Oh, that's right. Yeah, let's double check the solid UI docs again. Yeah, I didn't like the way their checkbox actually worked. Yep, okay, so I don't like theirs. I knew there was a reason I picked it. And yeah, Larobi, I guess, right? Are you talking about Astro middleware for like page rendering? Or are you talking about their actual like server logic middleware? Because the server logic stuff is like brand new. So I'd point out that Astro and Solid Start have the same problem because they're not mature enough to realize that you need per route or per folder endpoint, like middleware. Yeah, see, so that stuff's so new that they just haven't even thought through that use case properly yet. Let me look at Astro middleware too, because now you got me a little curious. So it just goes at the top level in a middleware object. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I'd say their middleware is just, yeah, it's a bad implementation too. Yeah, it'd be like, again, like the pattern I was showing where you just have that file like live as not middleware at the top level, but middleware at like the route folder level would solve basically every problem. Right? We could have middleware specifically to the authenticated endpoints versus the non-authenticated endpoints. Yeah, here's the thing, it can definitely get tricky, especially if you have fat middleware. I've worked on a project where tracing the middleware and like where things could be failing ended up getting like really shitty. So you do need to put in some effort as far as like when you're spitting out the errors to maybe log those in dev mode about like which middleware threw that error. Otherwise, it gets a lot harder to trace. 10-foot screws. Or is it 10 foot cruise? I don't know. Thank you for the sub. I appreciate you. But yeah, I think some way of segmenting middleware rather than having to do just a global like if check. Oh, Fresh does app like directory level middleware. Ooh, that sounds nice, Bob. Yeah. So, yep. Oh my God. Yeah, yeah. In a middleware file at the folder level. Yep. I love it. Ah, this is amazing. Yeah. Uh, hold on. Did that change scenes? Okay, yeah. Sorry, my OBS is bugged out right now, so I'm not 100% certain if all my stuff's doing what I need. Yes, it did change scenes. Perfect. I don't remember what my password is though. This is a good song though, right? All right, we should be back on the main scene now. Yep. Astro.build on Twitter. Eh. We don't need to tag him. I'm just too lazy. Like, the Twitter API is a nightmare to work with, and I just don't feel like dealing with it. Does Solid Start have one? And I should tag him. Oh, yeah. The Twitter API costs money. Dino Fresh Twitter. I'm guessing Fresh probably doesn't have its own account, but Dinoland does. Now hold on. Let's double check. Next, JS middleware. At Next.js. We good? I think we're good. Sure. Whatever. And we'll just publish it directly. Share now. Good enough. What's up, Xenogerm? How you doing? Had some Szechuan earlier? Nice. Hell yeah, Salmon. Did you clean up the imports? Like, like undoing the sorting and stuff like that? I would really, really appreciate it if you could. Okay, awesome. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure. All right, so now that's number 4. Awesome. Snapshots updated. Perfect. No conflicts. Yep, nice. BG type. Yep, set BG type. Color start, color end, gradient direction. Awesome. Um, so here's what I'm gonna do. I want to see it kind of working without having to pull it down. And this is seriously like the main reason I think Netlify and all these other tools nail it. You could set this up yourself, right? Anyone could set this up themselves and do the branch dependent like build process. But yeah, like yeah, that deploy process is nice. I want to see what the actual implementation detail is, like how the clicks work. I really feel like it should just be like a radio button, but I don't know. Like, we'll see how it actually works and see if I actually like it or not. I don't know. I like it seems like it's really close on the right track and all that. I'm just wondering what could be better about it. Right? So like how does the user actually define which type is used? So I almost feel like yeah, I don't think that's ideal. It's not clear to the user which is being used right now, right? Because the colors are the same. So I'm not a fan of that. And again, this is why having it moved over to the sidebar would be more ideal because you get more leeway on like what's configurable and what isn't. So what I would rather see is maybe a type field that opens out into like a checkbox list of solid versus linear. And then this like second one would change based upon what you have selected within the first like nested thing. I feel like that's not a good user experience there, Salman. Now again, what you've done so far looks great. Like honestly, you're like way on the right track. I really, really like it so far. But I think for user experience, there's definitely something that could be more intuitive, right? So that was the thing I wanted to check. Like really just the way you select between linear or solid. I'd rather make that an explicit choice and then decide what the next steps are. At which point, like, maybe you don't need the linear gradient to go out to a subfolder, right? Maybe you just have the type be like the subfolder, whatever one they pick. No, radio button was probably too cramped. I totally agree. But instead of like this, like you would instead have the type be its own like subfolder. And in that type, you basically just have like the list, and the one that you select there is then checked. Right? And then that would determine what other options you have in this just top level list, right? So then basically you would have color for solid versus direction, color, like color start, color end, right? But they would all be at the top level here, and then the only nested one is just the selection for the option. So as an example here, right, like that's like a nested like option version. So you could look at how I did that implementation a little bit. Now it's not actually determining what this other option would be, but yeah, just imagine that family was moved to the top, and then depending on what family I picked, other options would show below it. How do you feel about that? I'm not saying you have to do it that way. I'm saying like, do you think that seems like a good experience? Okay. Yeah, I think so too. And again, like I take the blame completely because it's not like I have a Figma that you could have seen with my idea of how it could have worked, and I didn't try doing the radio yet, so I wasn't aware that it was like split. You could put a divider, but I don't think the divider is necessary. Right? I think instead the options you show are just simply there or not based upon which selection you make. So basically, when I go into the type and I select solid, then there's just one option below for color, right? And it's just the color box. But if I select linear within the nested folder, this top level then just shows these three options at this level instead of like the nested level. So I think you can do that conditional rendering just fine. Awesome. Yeah, yeah. Cool. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate you being open to that. I'm also wondering, does everyone else feel the same way? Does that help? Because I just feel like there's too much that is like implicit about like whichever one you modify first. Whereas we can be more explicit. Yeah, yeah, no worries. And I think that's why you even asked. Oh, there's plenty of open source that's that good. Like, I just have the benefit of being live right now, so we can like chat through it quick. You know? Making this comment and like doing it via just the PR process is way tougher, right? Like to jam all of this into a comment, ooh, that would be a heavy comment and it would be easy to misunderstand. So, yes, I have the benefit of being live, you know? I think a lot of open source projects don't have that benefit. And it's not their fault. I mean, it is their fault. Every single open source maintainer should be streaming their coding and their process, right? Be a whole lot cooler if they did. And yeah, the fact that we were able to just spin it up, that is like one of the most powerful parts of Netlify, in my opinion, of Vercel, of all that stuff. Could you do it yourself? Yes. How much effort is it to do it yourself? More than I want to put in. Right? I don't even have prettier setup, you know, at like the PR level, you know? So there's a lot of work to do to make this actually a good project that people could contribute to. And that's some of the stuff that maybe you overlook if you think open source is easy. No, open source is tough. To do it in a way that is approachable and, you know, eliminates a lot of ambiguity. Like, no, it's actually really tough. So now let's look at generating it. I think you nailed it on the generation. Yep. Nailed it on the generation. I'll wait to do like the full, like every other part of the review until you get that other part, kind of like, you know, the reorganization we talked about done. Oof. We see the max width getting us a little bit right here. Right? Like the get element by ID being crunched down. There's another way we could do that that I think is beyond the scope of what I could get done within the next half hour. And the thought I have for that would be the thought I have that would be I would render out to a new canvas element per thing, and then like that canvas element's width would be just the available width we have, but we can still draw it at like the size, and then that would overflow into nothing and that would get like clipped. So basically like how to implement clipping on our own. To do that clipping, it would involve like an intermediate canvas element we draw to, grabbing the image that generates from that element and then painting that image to our main canvas. That's a bit tougher. There's also maybe the idea of drawing in a different order. Right? So the background and the shadow would actually be drawn last. And I would draw the code snippet and its like rounded border and all that, to a canvas sized to it, and then I would draw that canvas to a larger canvas that has the padding and background and shadows. And I would add the shadow after I've drawn that. So there's a couple ways to do this. I think the least tacky way would actually be changing the order in which we paint some of this. Right? So I would paint to a canvas that is just the size of the code window. And then once that is like clipped because we've gone beyond the boundaries and all that, then I would take that and draw it to a canvas that has the background on it. And I would draw the shadow at the same time. I think that's the way to do the clipping properly. Because, yeah, right now, like, changing the width just, like, shrinks the element, like, scales the element. So it ends up, like, looking kind of wonky. Yeah. All right, more music, though. And, yeah, damn, I'm sorry, Larobi. Yeah, some jerk has ruined multiple of my keyboards by spilling beverages on them. I decided on like the right way to do clipping at the edges. If I don't clip this, this element would actually stretch beyond and it would draw into the background basically. So instead, I'm going to need to draw it in a way that still clips, but I draw the part that clips first in like a, you know, only sized to that, right? Which would be like the code part. And then I take that code part, render that to an image that I can then composite into another canvas that has our background and the shadow, right? So it's more about like the order in which I do the compositing. Yep. All right, hold on. Let's see. All right, Jordan Mason just started out. Toto's got a major lead already. I'm playing against the defense for my team. Damn, Travis Kelce got me 20 points, though. All right, so Travis Kelce has made up for the entire previous part of his season. But I do need my main running back to get like 40 points. So I believe Atota has this one wrapped up. I think Atota has this one wrapped up. His running backs killed it. His flex was good too. I guess both of our flex was good. Ooh, I hope no one had the Tennessee defense this week. Yikes. Why doesn't count get moved with the return div? I'm not sure. Because it was probably identified as a different node. Because I believe Shiki is breaking it down into an abstract syntax tree. And the content of that node is count colon 0, whereas the content of this node is count colon, and then there's a whole other AST there. So I believe it doesn't identify it as the same node anymore. Because it's not doing text interpolation. It's purely doing it from like AST nodes. So for the most part, if you've never worked with an abstract syntax tree, it might not be intuitive, but the moment you have, oh yeah, it's looking at the contents of each AST node and their types. Now, that is a good point. The closing div does kind of look like it should. So that part I don't know. So maybe it's not exactly the AST thing. I don't know. I wonder if there were spaces between them, it would help. But yeah, no, that's a good point. I feel like that closing div should actually be the same node. What's up, Janhua? How you doing? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Tricky. I feel like this is a solid tweet, but yeah, no, my tweets have been dying on Twitter for ages. I'm actually curious if I'm getting better engagement on Blue Sky now. Oh, hold on. Yeah, Blue Sky, major engagement. Did you break the build? Yeah, I did notice that you got like a red like build issue. So hold on, let's go look. Oh, I got more people I should follow over on the Butterfly app. Yeah, basically anyone over on the Butterfly app that I don't recognize specifically, I just look to make sure that someone else I know does follow you, and then bam, done. That's not the first time we've seen that issue. That seems like a Netlify thing. Right? It's just a README change. I don't see what could be causing that, right? So I don't think that's on your end. Yes, Xcrap had the same problem. No, you're good. And yeah, Twitch thought that was a oh, yeah, no, that one's good. Thank you, Xcrap. It seems like someone's trying to get enough contributions into this project to make some money if we possibly win. Um, so I did have one thing here. Yeah, I think, just make sure the name of the plugin is actually what it is. The JS Nation event is in person. Yeah, for sure, Junhua. It is in person. So there's one hybrid day, one remote day. The hybrid day is in person. So if you can't make it, no worries. I probably should have asked you before we did the ticket thing, because I could have given one to someone else. But it is definitely in person. You could at least go to the party. Oh, you do have the ability to reassign it? Okay. I would say if you know someone that in the area that you want to give it to, feel free. If not, we can figure out who to send that over to. Oh, there definitely could be Fievel, right? I think for now, just a README change is fine. But yeah, you're not able to get any days off. Ah, that's a shame. Your buddy Wes Boss is going to be there, though, man. Oh, Jess is speaking. Cool. I don't think I've ever met her in person. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I heard that CM Griffin guy is going to be there. And yeah, I get to meet Graham in person. This dude spoke last year. Hey, I know that guy. Hey, look at him. That's a fantastic, like Halloween costume he's got on, isn't it? I'm a sriracha bottle. Yeah, a lot of other speakers I don't know or recognize, which is cool. Oh, I met Max at SquiggleConf, so yeah, probably gonna get to see him there. Unless he's a remote talk, and then yeah, it's probably not worth flying out from Germany for. Hey, Mike Hardington, this dude's awesome. Yeah, legit, nice. CJ's giving a talk and he's emceeing. Man, he's putting in a lot of effort, isn't he? But yeah, yeah, it should be fun. I would definitely see if you could get a Monday off. Like, it'd be so worth it. But all right, we're probably towards the time where I should be wrapping up. I have a flight in 3 hours, which means I need the next hour to actually pack my bag, which I haven't done yet. Um, right, like an hour to drive to the airport. It's a Sunday night, so it'll take me a half hour. But just to be sure, an hour beforehand, maybe to get a meal. It'll be expensed. But yeah. We had a great day today. I'm a little bummed I didn't finish up everything. Like for the styling stuff I was doing. Well, hold on. Let me look at what I got. Right? We're here in localhost. We're looking at settings. We're looking at shadow stuff. I'd say the shadow stuff is like it's like so close. We can knock out this checkbox. Let's do it. Let me just see. Can we knock out this one little thing? Will it blend? It did not blend. I have an idea. We can check that here in a second. I'm going to call this simpler checkbox. All right, so simpler checkbox. No, this is not cursor. We're using Super Maven. I hate this song. There we go. I'd say that's still better. Oh, that's the wrong thing. So now we got the bug where we're not getting our error output as we expected. Let me see if we get this issue. All right, let me look at the conflict in that. It was just up here. Yep, I see it. All right, let me look at your PR. When I'm already going over time here. Oh, interesting. What did you end up using CN for? So this is maybe going to be a nitpick, but shouldn't the check go on the other side? Oh, so you can do it the same way that React does it. And also, if we're looking at, the app itself, when we look at, oh, hold on, let me do it. Oh, no, that's not it. When we go here, we go to output, settings, font, family. The check's over on the right. So I'd say move the check to the right. And the way you would do that is, right? Hold on. I guess I'm not doing it in there. Okay, so here's another option. You can do the show. Well, yeah, it should go on the right anyway. But also, you can use show to conditionally, like, show or hide something. Oh, I guess what you were doing was, like, it had the checkbox on the left, and, like, as you select them, they wouldn't, like, shift. Yeah, no, so I think on the right makes more sense. Uh, yeah, so don't worry about the padding part. But yeah, you could either use a show or you could do it the React way by doing like thing and what you want to show, right? Both actually work. So standard JSX still works. I thought I was doing that somewhere in here, but I can't seem to find it anymore. Strange. But yeah, yep, you get to that. I won't be able to do it here on stream, but I will look at it possibly on the plane, maybe in a little bit after I've done my packing. But I need to start packing for my flight. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. And if I have more comments, I'll let you know on the PR. And I'll be back Thursday so we can chat about it again then. But who do we go raid? Yeah. I got to make this flight, so I can't stick around too much longer. Oh yeah, we'll go raid Acorn. Oh, and man, yeah, me and Acorn both have like the super fast Jetragon mount in Pal World. We just got to work on getting 2 more for the rest of the crew next time, and building out the saddles for it and all that stuff. So yeah, let's go raid into Acorn stream, and I will bid farewell to Twitter, YouTube, and Algora. Later, everyone.